So we want to offer this particular definition of educational equity. It doesn't mean it's the only definition. It doesn't mean it's the only definition that's valuable, but we want to have a common language as we move through this session together. Elena Aguilar, who is an author and education consultant, defines educational equity as every child, every day. Educational equity means that every child receives whatever he, they need to develop their full academic and social potential and to thrive every day. By thrive, I mean academically as well as social emotionally. Every child has a right to feel loved and cared for and to feel that they belong to a community. Emotional well-being is as important as academic success in this definition of educational equity. Educational equity means there is no predictability of success or failure that correlates with any social or cultural factor. A child's educational experience or outcomes is not predictable because of their race, ethnicity, linguistic background, economic class, religion, gender, sexual orientation, physical and cognitive ability, or any other social political identity marker. And so as we think about that definition of educational equity, we want to think about how does inquiry-based learning support us moving towards achieving educational equity. So we're going to start with a video that defines how we view inquiry-based learning at Inquire Ed. And so as you watch this video, just think about where do we see the alignment with educational equity and inquiry-based learning.
Teachers are tasked with a difficult job, helping students acquire the skills they need now and in the world of tomorrow. We want our students to be able to adapt to changes in technology and industry, but sometimes our predictions of those changes can be off the mark, and so can some of our teaching methods. In the late 19th century, proponents of the factory model of education assumed that good students could be mass produced like Henry Ford's Model Ts. And in the 20th century, technologists predicted that first the television and then the computer would replace classroom teachers. These theories prove false because they assume that new procedures or tools could somehow change the process of human learning, evidenced throughout history and in human development. Inquiry-based learning, often just called inquiry, is that essential learning process rooted in the drive to discover that is hardwired into our brains, the need to question that is a hallmark of our species, and the ability to create solutions that transform the world around us. Inquiry's roots stretch throughout history. The Greek philosopher Socrates used a form of inquiry as he led his students to question their assumptions and approach the world with wonder. Enlightenment thinkers like Isaac Newton engaged in inquiry as they sought to understand the laws that govern the universe. And 20th century educational pioneers like Maria Montessori and John Dewey encouraged inquiry-based practices in response to the factory model of schooling. Inquiry's roots also extend deep into the workings of our brains. Research suggests that our deepest learning happens when multiple areas of our brains are involved in a task, as they are when our curiosity and creativity are engaged, and when we are able to play, experiment, and learn at our own pace. Inquiry not only promotes deep learning in students, but it also taps into the creativity and passions of teachers, empowering them to design experiences, connect to their communities, and be mentors and guides to their students. We know that no method or resource can replace the passion and creativity of great teachers. So let's give them what they need to inspire inquiry and transform learning in any classroom. Contact.
So I'm going to stop there.
Inquire.
And in the chat, it says poll, but in the chat, just think about how you define educational equity and how you define inquiry-based learning. How does it align with what you read and watched? So you can just put in the chat, it was very aligned, somewhat aligned, not very aligned. How was your definition? How did it change or shift based on what you heard? Just take a moment to place your idea in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm going to talk about how inquiry-based learning supports the goals of educational equity. Really, we see that there's a sweet spot. It provides teaching and learning methods that can be more inclusive and adaptive to the diverse needs of students. And here's more about how these two concepts are connected. Personalized learning, right? Inquiry-based learning allows students to pursue their own questions and interests, which can cater to individual learning styles and paces. This approach acknowledges that students have unique backgrounds, experiences, and abilities, and it provides them with opportunities to learn in ways that resonate with them personally. And then we think about engagement and relevance. Inquiry-based learning often involves real-world problems and scenarios, and that connects students to their own lived experiences and interests. It can increase engagement, motivation, and for students who may feel marginalized or who are outside of the sphere of success or disinterested in traditional learning, this can be very powerful. We think about that critical thinking and problem solving because inquiry-based learning encourages students to think critically, to analyze information and solve complex problems. These are the skills that are essential for academic success and also for addressing societal issues, right? So we want students from diverse backgrounds to be better equipped to overcome challenges and succeed academically. Inquiry-based learning is culturally relevant. It can be designed to incorporate students' cultural backgrounds, their experiences, and their perspectives, which promotes in the core inclusive and culturally responsive learning environment, which is a key aspect and critical to educational equity. We think about that collaboration and communication piece. In inquiry-based learning, students are working together on projects and sharing their findings with peers. They're providing feedback, they're receiving feedback, and these communication skills and the ability to work in diverse teams and skills are valuable in education and beyond our classroom walls. And then we just want to, restate that overall inquiry-based learning aligns very closely with the principles of educational equity. It provides a student-centered approach that values diversity, individual strengths, and varied ways of learning. It creates a more inclusive and just educational experience for all students, regardless of their background or circumstances. And so we want you to hear from a student perspective. What do they feel about the power of inquiry? What's their experience? So let's just take a listen to one of a student who has gotten to experience inquiry in her classroom.
I think it's cool because you can just learn about like other people and you kind of learn about how things work in the world and now not just like how you do things, you know, how other people do things and that gives you like a different way to look at the world. So basically we kind of had like a whole brainstorming session. We made like 15 ideas and then we all voted and posters. Some other ideas were like a Google slideshow. Maybe we could have done something like well, not like a play, but kind of like that. And then, or we could do like an assembly where we maybe showed like all our models. So basically, we chose posters because of our whole like voting and then to hang them out in the hall. Basically, we just kind of we did another brainstorming thing where we wrote down all the things that we wanted to be good in our posters. Then Ms. Shank took those. She basically made for a 3, you do this, and this, and that's the best you can get. 2, some of that, and 1, basically none of that. So then that really helped us because it gave us an outline of what we needed to do. We made our drafts, and then once we did that, we walked around to everyone's poster, and then basically we had these little sheets that were like, this is good about your poster, you can change this about your poster. So then basically a few groups came to our poster, and some were like, add more pictures, make your thing more colorful, and then like cite your sources. So then you would take those and add them to your poster to make it better. So those were really fun to make, like especially with my group. You want to actually do something hands-on, and also you get to choose what you're doing here. So it's not like it's picked out for you. So you can choose whatever topic you want. Like some people did the Heritage Month, some people did like about Mount Rushmore. We did like a lot of things. We did 4 different things in ours. So I think that was a lot more fun because you actually give you like a reason to research. And I think you kind of learn more when you actually do something like that.
So you heard it from the student perspective. You actually learn more when you do it like that. So I want you to just take a moment and think about that student that you dedicated your learning to, past or present, here with us or no longer with us. How would they have benefited from inquiry-based learning? Let us know in the chat. How might they or would they have benefited from inquiry-based learning if they had the opportunity to experience it? And while you're sharing that out in the chat, I'm going to have us look at the inquiry process. So when we're saying inquiry-based learning, what do we mean in terms of the steps or the process? There are lots of different ways to implement inquiry, but at Inquire Ed, what we utilize is this structure. We utilize a structure called launch, and that's where we start with a question, a meaningful, powerful question that we want to hook students into. We want it to be super engaging. And we also have students start to ask their own question related to that larger inquiry topic. Then after that, we go into an investigation, and this is where students are doing that meaty work of researching. They're engaging in literature, and they're using protocols to have discussions. This is where they're doing a lot of that hands-on project-based work. And then at the end, it culminates in an action where students say, this is what we've learned, and this is why it matters, and how we're going to take it beyond the walls, the four walls of our classroom, and we're going to do something with the knowledge that we gained throughout the inquiry. So I want to pause here because I want to take a look at some of what's in the chat related to our question about how might one of your students benefit from a process like this. We see Leslie wrote that making connections, seeing the reasoning behind what they're doing and translating it into something they can use. That is super powerful. A lot of times as a student, myself, when I was in my classrooms in Chicago, Illinois, wanting to be that news anchor, a lot of times I didn't see myself in the curriculum. I didn't see why it mattered. I didn't see why we were doing what we were doing. I was just going through the motions. I was really good at playing school and I got good grades, but I didn't know why it mattered. And having that having the inquiry process can really shift that. Lenina wrote, designing an experiment and then putting that into action. Yes, having them be able to take action, knowing that they have agency in this world is super important. And then, like Yasmin said, they become a leader and set their own goals and motivate others. So thank you so much for sharing that. In this upcoming video, I want you to think about that structure of launch, investigation, and action. And I want you to see where you might see some opportunities to address the diverse needs and abilities of students through the inquiry process. If you were to see this inquiry process manifest itself, where would these opportunities lie? Where would students be able to thrive? So let's take a moment to watch this video.
Let's explore the third grade Global Connections unit of Inquiry Journeys to discover how students build their social studies content knowledge and skills through inquiry-based learning. In the Global Connections unit, students explore the way they are connected to others around the world through the movement of people, goods, and ideas. Just like every Inquiry Journeys unit, Global Connections is framed by an inquiry question that guides investigation and supports action. How can we act as global citizens? The unit launch starts with lessons that hook students into the inquiry, prompting them to generate their own questions and guiding them as they begin a unit-long display to map their global connections. After the launch, students start their sustained investigation, moving through a series of lessons organized around 4 essential need-to-know questions. Where in the world are we? With lessons that prompt students to identify location, direction, and distance, to explore how latitude and longitude are used to determine absolute location, and to investigate the names, locations, and geographic features of the continents. How does geography shape culture? With lessons that lead students to identify the physical and human characteristics of a country, and then write a travel plan that reflects how geography shapes culture in that location. How are we connected to the global community through what we produce and consume? With lessons that prompt students to explore the concepts of specialization and interdependence, and to trace the journey from raw material to final product for everyday items. And how can I play a part in the global community? With lessons that help students examine the concepts of globalization and cultural diffusion and discover how cultural and environmental characteristics affect the distribution and movement of people, goods, and ideas. After their sustained investigation, students create an inquiry challenge statement that describes how they will use their learning to design and implement an action that has an impact on their community. What kind of action will they take? That depends. Their teachers can choose from a range of inquiry products, the products that students build or create to impact their community. Based on their learning from the Global Connections Unit, students could create and present cookbooks with recipes from locations around the globe where they have connections, explaining how the recipe reflects the geography and culture of that place. Or maybe they could create a presentation for their principal that traces the journey of items in their school lunches and advocates for the use of more local products. The possibilities are endless. Along the way, they'll brainstorm, prototype, get feedback, and revise. At the end of the unit, they'll reflect on what they've learned and accomplished. And that's a quick exploration of the third grade Global Connections Unit of Inquiry Journeys.
So you got to see how we design around launch, investigation, and action. And as you saw in that video, there are some opportunities to address diverse needs, abilities, and learning styles. Where did you see those opportunities? So we're going to go into breakout rooms for about 3 minutes, share out in response to this question, and then I'll see you back soon. You'll be able to see the question in your breakout room. So I'll see you back soon. Just let us know when you come back. I'll ask a couple people to share out where did you see opportunities in that video to address the needs of all diverse learners. Here we go.
Getting a lot of good reaction in the chat.
Yeah, it's a good group.
Yeah.
Having to change up the breakout rooms a little bit. Some people aren't joining. I don't know why. Six. Okay, Lisa. We'll be around 3. So it looks like now no one is alone. Oh, Russell, how'd you get to be alone?
Yeah, see him in room 9.
Yeah, I just moved you up. All right, I think everybody's in a room who wants to be in a room.
Good. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it like 30 more seconds because it took me a while to get people in rooms.
That sounds good.
I need a new chair. I feel like I'm gonna become a hunchback.
Yeah, mine doesn't, like, I have to force myself to sit straight, so that means it's not a good chair either. Like, I'm always leaning forward.
Yeah, me too. Mine is beautiful. Like it's a pretty like crate and barrel, like gold and like matches my aesthetic, but like this ain't functional.
Mine's functional. It's fine. It's just a regular office chair, but I have to always force myself to, maybe that's just me like trying to be closer to the action. I don't know.
I needed like like one of those gamer chairs.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna bring everybody back. Here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, welcome back, everyone. It looks like everyone has made it back into the main room. I'm just going to ask if someone from room 3 would be willing to share out in response to the prompt on the screen. That was Jen, Carrie, Leslie, Lisa G, or Lisa Preston. Would one of you be willing to unmute? What did you converse about in your breakout room? Where did y'all see opportunities?
I heard some of the other participants say it offers student choice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa G, for being brave in this space
Yeah,
and being willing
I
to.
actually hardly spoke in my group. I'm so sorry. My garbage disposal just kind of exploded while we're doing this.
It's okay. You definitely did your part by
I
sharing with
was
the.
listening to them, but I was trying to stop the overflow at the same time.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Yes, students having a choice can definitely make for a more equitable learning experience because they had that agency. They're feeling like they're a part of the decision making, and that can really motivate some of our disengaged learners. So thank you for sharing out. What about somebody from room 4? That was Desiree, Jean, Marissa, or Tamara? Would one of you be willing to share out? And even if you didn't speak in the main room, in the breakout room, you can speak in this room. Oh, maybe they weren't there. I don't know. Let's try Cynthia or Lanina from room 5.
Hi, this is Lenina.
Thank
I was saying that you're welcome. I was saying that we can make connections like at the very beginning to real life events for those students. And then that way they are part of what's going on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lanina. So now we're going to have an opportunity to look at some actual inquiry-based learning resources and have a moment to apply some of the things that we have just shared. So first, I want to name that we have a variety of resources that can support you in inquiry-based teaching if that's a choice that you'd like to make. And you can access them by going to hub.inquireed.com. So if you just go to hub.inquireed.com, you'll see our inquiry hub, and almost everything on here is accessible to you. There are a couple things that are not like the courses, but everything else, if you go to the toolboxes here, in the top left corner. We have one that's specifically for planning for inquiry, and we have another one that's called inquiry-based teaching. And once you click open those toolboxes, you'll see reflection tools, you'll see learning walk tools, you'll see inquiry teaching practices with look fors, you'll see strategies and protocols, and different resources for you there. So I just wanted to share that resource with you, and you can use it forever from now into forever. So check it out. But also want to give you a chance to think about your focus student, and with that student in mind, think about some resources that might support their learning. Which tools could you use in this toolbox that might help you move closer to equity in terms of your instructional practice? So I want you to take a look in this inquiry-based teaching toolbox. Go on the hub. We have two. We have the one that's called inquiry-based teaching. We have the other one that's called planning for inquiry. I want you to go ahead and check out those resources and just identify one that might help you to support your focus students' learning, or something that might help move you closer to equity in terms of your classroom instruction. And then I'll ask you to share out. So we're going to take about 2 minutes of independent time, and then we're going to go back into our breakout rooms to talk about what resources you saw that you might want to use. Let's take a few minutes of independent time, and then we'll go back to breakout rooms.
Sorry, can't hear
You're
you.
on mute. Yeah.
Well, that would be helpful to be unmute, right? So what I want you to look at is go to that hub.inquireed.com.
Yeah, I'm on there. Then where?
Go to toolboxes right here in the top left corner here.
Okay, thanks.
When you're there are two toolboxes I want you to check out: planning for inquiry and inquiry-based teaching. You just
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So just check it out and see if you see anything that would be useful to you. All right, so we're now going to go into breakout rooms and discuss, share your responses. What did you find? What do you see? And I'll see y'all back in about 3 minutes. It might take a little shuffling because some people don't join rooms. So if you get shuffled, I apologize. Every room has at least 2 people.
Good. The hub is such a cool place. It's so neat what you guys have all done with that, even just without being a partner. It's really great to send out and introduce people to it.
It's funny, we were just talking about it yesterday in a team meeting, like how new it is. Like it seems like it's been there forever. Like sometimes I have to remember, like it's been a year.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, right? Sometimes we even forget, like when we're sending out marketing emails or things like that, it's like, oh, the hub, duh, like let's send the hub out. Like that's such a valuable piece of collateral. I mean, it's not collateral, but you know what I mean? Like it's such a valuable resource to send out to people who are on the brink of, because our marketing people are people who aren't partners yet, but they've indicated interest. So it's like, what a cool way for them to go and explore and to really help them get over the edge of being bought into Inquire Ed.
Yeah, I'm excited to add new stuff to it. I'm just really starting to think about like our next round of like PD resources and stuff. I want to do some school visits this year. So I'm
That's
excited about that. Yeah.
that's really neat.
Do y'all have any schools in Raleigh, Durham?
No, North Carolina just went, well, I think actually we just got one in Raleigh. It's a small private school. North Carolina just went through a huge text curriculum instructional materials adoption.
Gotcha.
We got approved to be on the list, but they're still districts that are like they're just starting their social studies adoption. So we hope we get a few soon. We had a big district pilot over the summer, Winston-Salem. So we'll see. We hope that there's a few soon. I would love to go in and visit some.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing. Hey, Brittany.
Is it just the three of us in this room?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm-
there are some people who never joined a breakout room, so I'm assuming that
oh
there's
yeah, I can see that. I'm gonna add like an attendance leak in a survey, like close to the end, just to like, I'm not gonna like try to interject or yeah, just kind of ignore it so that they, yeah,
okay.
just let you know. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Everyone's back in the main room, it looks like. So I hope you got a chance to see some tools that might be beneficial to you. We're going to now think about what we learned, put it all together, think about what inquiry-based learning is, what we use as the inquiry process, those resources that you have access to, and we're going to do a practice because we know as educators, part of stamping the learning is giving learners an opportunity to practice. That's for all learners. That's what the science of the brain tells us. And so as a group, you're going to go back to those breakout rooms, and I want you to respond to the scenario below. So you have a teacher named Mr. Mendoza, and he's going to use the inquiry question, how can we work together to meet community needs and wants? That's the inquiry question that he's providing to his students. So how can you use the inquiry structure? How could Mr. Mendoza plan using the inquiry process in order to make this inquiry come to life? So what can he do to hook the students in at the launch? What can he do to really get them going, get them excited about this inquiry question? What questions might he have the students investigate? What are some materials, some protocols, some procedures he could utilize to support the learners in the investigation? What kind of knowledge and skills and content could the students unpack around this inquiry question? And then what could be their big informed action project that they take? What public purposeful action could they take beyond the classroom in response to this question? How can we work together on meeting community needs and wants? I'm going to put a note catcher in the chat if you want a space to be able to plan. It's a forced copy, so you'll just click the button, make a copy. And when it opens, which it eventually will, you can scroll down to page 2, and there'll be a space for you to type your responses to these guiding questions.
Can you give us access, please?
There's no access. Let me try again. Let's try again. 1 sec. All right, let's try it again. Refresh it. And it should work now. So remember, page 2 is where you have the prompts. I'll also share them in the breakout room. I'll see y'all back. Let's say you can split it up. Y'all can do it all together, work on it, how it works for your particular group. But we'll be back in like 8 minutes. We'll come back at, which is my time, 2:20, which is, I think. All right, here we go. So breakout rooms, I'll see y'all back in about 8 minutes. All right, everybody has somebody there.
That's good. That's not always easy to do.
I know it can be difficult with, I think a lot of people expect like webinar style sometimes,
Yes.
like the breakout rooms and stuff.
But a lot of engagement considering that today. So that's really good.
At the Saturday, whoo,
Yeah.
whoo. Shout out to these participants.
Absolutely. Has attendance been pretty good today, Brittany? That's really good.
Yeah, kind of. We had, I think, like 700 people register, and I think only 200 showed up. So it's kind of, we usually expect half. It's a little lower than half, but yeah, I'm not really sure. I think we sent out registration 3 months ago, and maybe that was too far out. And I feel like it should be like 3 weeks, or like at least maybe like a 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They get access to recordings and things though, correct? Or
yeah, yeah, it'll all be in Canvas, so that's a bonus for sure. So
I mean, truthfully, sometimes I register for stuff knowing I'm not going to come because there'll be a recording. And
Mhm.
yeah,
I'll watch it when I actually have time to do it.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But these kind of sessions, they're not going to really see anything because it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I like sections that have breakout room. Well, when you're a participant, it's like I feel like you learn a little bit more from your peers, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that's why I use them. I'm like, y'all are in the field right now. You know more than I know.
mhm. Where do you guys live?
I'm in Chicago. Came back
That's right.
home.
Nice.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
What part of Nevada are you in?
So I'm actually from Vegas, but I live in Gilbert, Arizona.
Oh, you're
Okay.
in.
Very
I'm like
cool.
contracted with NDE, so I'm not like required to like go into the office. So I work remotely. But
Nice. That's great.
yeah.
How do you like it compared to, I have family in Vegas. How do you like it compared to Vegas?
I feel like Arizona is a little more family oriented. It's interesting though because the Phoenix area has more population than the Vegas.
Mhm.
So
It's
yeah,
nice.
there's
And like
positives.
over the past few years, like I feel like so many people moved to Phoenix.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Over the past few years, it's really boomed. We
Fun.
moved here in 2019 and it's just crazy. Yeah.
My previous work offices were in Chandler, so I've been out there quite a bit and have friends that live in that Gilbert, Chandler, Phoenix, Scottsdale, I don't know, that whole area. And Scottsdale is like a massive party town now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't been to
Yeah.
Arizona. Little.
I was out there last year. This time I went to the the Cardinals week 1 football game, so it was fun.
There you go.
Yeah,
AJ, you're a sports guy. I noticed that about you.
I do like sports. I do. I will not yeah, can't deny that one.
Juan, you said you guys are having a lot of storms.
Yeah, we thankfully, because it had been very hot here and humid. Not the dry heat you guys get, but very hot and humid. I mean, I think the real feel yesterday here was still about 105.
Woo!
Yeah, so it's been storming early this morning into today, and it's just been nice because it's cooled things down.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in a heat wave.
You guys, you're in like perfect weather time for me. I'm like, oh, it's a
That's why I didn't ask you, Lakeithia.
right.
You guys are
But then I'll be like -20 in a
That's
couple months, and y'all will be like happy.
yeah, it'll be like 45, 50.
Exactly. And I will be freezing, like
Yeah.
not wanting to leave my house. So.
That's true. Well, yeah. You guys are in a heat wave, Brittany, you said?
Yeah, we had like a couple, like maybe 2 weeks of like 70s, 80s, which is amazing. And then this week it's like 106, 110. I'm like, did we get a false like fall for a couple of weeks? And
Oh, there's
then
fake fall, false falls. They always happen. September's the month they come. Then you'll get some false falls in October too, and then finally it'll hit.
yeah.
How's it gonna be, Lakeithia, in Chicago next for home week?
Can tell you. I could not tell you.
No idea. The weather changes.
It could be wonderful. It could be a blizzard. It could be hot. You just never know. Chicago, you just never know. Like 2 Christmases ago, we were barbecuing outside. Last Christmas, it was like -10. Never know what you're gonna get. Just be prepared for anything.
Oh, it's cooler than here. I'll be excited. I'll take a blizzard.
It won't be in the hundreds or anything like that.
Yeah, good.
I have a hard time buying clothes for my baby because I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna be hot, if it's gonna be cold, if it's gonna be like in between.
Yeah.
How old's your baby?
She's 6 months.
Very nice. My baby's 8 months.
Juan has a baby too.
7
Like
months.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8.
That's funny.
They're all looking for us right now.
You have a girl or a boy, Brittany?
I have a boy, a son. Yeah. His name's Hunter. My husband is watching him. I think this is the first time that I've had to like I haven't taken care of him all day. So,
It's good bonding time.
Yeah. You have a little girl, Lakeitha? Or yeah.
Yael. Yael. All right, y'all. Everybody's back. Let me make sure. All right, welcome back. I hope you got some ideas for how Mr. Mendoza could respond to this scenario. And we want to show you how we would approach planning for an inquiry like this. So I'm going to share with you 2 documents. Both are on the hub, so you'll be able to access them later. Oh, I think JJ got the first one and the second one. But this is how we would plan around a meeting needs and wants inquiry. So you can take a look at it at your own, pace, your own speed. You don't have to, zoom through it. But we would definitely have some essential questions. We would make sure that that inquiry question is centered, but the essential questions are related to that. So our essential questions are, why can't I have everything I want? How do people make spending and saving decisions? How do community producers meet needs and wants? And how do people work together to help their communities? And so we start our launch with having a thought-provoking activity called the QFT. So we have kids like generate as many questions as they possibly can in response to the larger inquiry question. This is our way to both like a pre-assessment, but also get students excited about the inquiry. And then our second essential question, why can't I have everything I want? We use that that part of the investigation for kids to really start classifying items as needs or wants and giving them the opportunity to really explore how people use information to make economic choices, because we want them to know that as like adults in the world, sometimes we have to make complicated decisions and consider, you know, unexpected situations that might arise. And we do that having them play games and also working together in collaborative groups. We also have students in that investigation stage really start getting introduced to some economic concepts of saving, spending, and earning. And so they start learning about budgeting, and they have to practice budgeting and saving for a future goal. And our next phase of the investigation, students explore different producers like businesses and the government and volunteers to think about how they can meet needs and wants in a community. And they imagine themselves as a community producer, and they think about a good or a service they're going to provide and the resources they're going to have to use to get this business up and running. And this is a great opportunity to visit businesses in your community, to have guest speakers come into the classroom to talk about their businesses. This is also a moment where you could do like a Shark Tank or something like that, right? So you could be very creative here. And then we also have students think about how communities work together to meet shared needs and wants. So they analyze different case studies and investigate how people can contribute to meeting community needs and wants. And then they also identify challenges and opportunities in their own community. So that might look like interviews, that might look like polling, right? And they can start thinking about, okay, so if these are some of the issues that we're having or challenges in our community, what we do as a second grade class to respond to that. And that's that last take action module where they do something related to that. And so you can see in the example that we have here, one group said, we are going to create and present a persuasive ad to tell about our blacktop playground in order to influence our principal and PTO to change the blacktop to be more safe and fun. So their challenge that they saw was that the blacktop needed to be improved, and they wanted to influence the principal. And so they presented to the PTO and the principal. They asked to request funds to update their playground, and they were able to make that change. Now, not everybody is going to have the resources to do something like that. So another example is a clothing drive. One second grade class, they designed posters and displayed them throughout the school to get winter clothes, because they saw a need in their community was that not everyone had the winter gear that they needed. And then another second grade class did persuasive posters for an outdoor learning space, and they wanted the principal and PTO to build one, and they were able to achieve that goal as well. So there are different ways that this inquiry can manifest itself in response to this same inquiry question. And you can think about that in different ways using that launch, investigation, and action approach. So before we wrap up, if you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to place them in the chat in response to anything that we've said or shared with you. You will continue to have access to that inquiry hub, but we're here to hear any ideas, thoughts, or wonderings that came up for you as you explored equity and the inquiry process. And with that, JJ is going to wrap us up, but you can also continue to put your ideas in the chat. I'll be responding, so feel free. Ideas, thoughts, and wonderings. And JJ is going to close us out.
Absolutely. Well, first, just thank you, Lakithia, for the wonderful presentation and the knowledge that you've shared, but also allowing us all to converse with each other in breakout rooms, get to know one another, and share and expand upon our knowledge. So thank you for that. So as we go in, we encourage you, if you have any questions, please chat them in. We'll share some ways that you can contact us as well. But before we close out, we really want to wrap this up by thinking back to the students that we serve. And I know that everyone today dedicated their learning to someone in their past or a current student. And this is a quote from Alina Aguilar, and she says, educational equity means every child, every day, period. Yes, this is a high bar, every child, and it is an attainable goal. So I want you to think through that. And here at Inquire Ed, the way that we contribute to this goal of providing equity and equitable education for all students is by providing inquiry for every student. That is actually our company mission statement, is inquiry for all. Very simple. We want to provide inquiry for all because we know the power that it has for students. And when your students are going through inquiry, when they're investigating, when they're asking questions, when they're making personal connections, when they're using their own personal voice, when they're making choices, when they're taking informed action, that is exactly how you can make learning an equitable place for all. So we know that you've looked at some things. We know that you've looked at our hub. We know that you've looked at a few different things. First, we want to tell you that we can help. We can provide you with a free unit trial. This is a great way for you to go in. We do have a curriculum called Inquiry Journeys. By no means is it the end all be all of inquiry. We think it's a really great place to go and try out inquiry. You can get some really good ideas. You can look through our curriculum. It's also another great place that if you sign up for this free unit trial, the link that we shared earlier, that hub, our inquiry hub, if you sign up for a free unit trial, you get access to everything inside of that hub. You might have seen when you were clicking around that there were some items that were locked. When you sign up for a free unit trial, that is unlocked. This is a no risk. There's no, you have to put in payments or anything like that. This is just, you can sign up and access our curriculum for free. There are 30 inquiry-based social studies lessons in there. You can choose your grade level. There's K-5 grade levels that are there for choice. There's text, multimedia content inside of those lessons, handouts, assessments, step-by-step lessons, and more. So feel free to click on the link. Lakeithia just posted it in the chat, and you can start to explore an inquiry-based curriculum. You can start to get ideas, and you can start implementing those ideas into your classroom. Now, if you are looking to take the next step, and perhaps you might want to talk to us at Inquire Ed about how you can bring inquiry into your classroom, Jason Long is our state representative. He is not here today. He unfortunately his daughter had a soccer tournament that is lasting all day. But here on the screen, he wanted us to provide you with his email address and his phone number. We will also, email this out in a different format, but it's jason@inquireed.org. His phone number is listed there on the screen. Again, if you just wanted to chat about inquiry in your classroom, what steps you can take, Jason is a great resource to do that. We want to thank you very, very much for being here with us. Lakeithia and I were commenting on how wonderful this group has been. You guys have all been engaged with us. You've been committed to being here on a Saturday to learn, and your students are going to be the beneficiaries of this learning that you are doing. So thank you very much. Good luck on your journey. Lakeithia or Brittany, anything else you want to add?
No, just want to express my gratitude. It was wonderful being here with y'all. Take care and have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the presentation. I really appreciate it. It's been a good learning opportunity. If anyone has questions about the sessions, the conference, let me know. We have a lunch break starting like now and goes till 1, and I guess the session 4 will start promptly at 1 o'clock. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much.
Bye-bye.
Are you going to leave this open?
Yeah, this room will be open for the rest of the day till like 4:30 my time. I don't know
So,
about
will you give me permission to share screen?
yeah, so I'll give you permission to I'll make you co-host so that you can share.
Good.
And then me and everybody else in this room should leave for 30 minutes and be back in 30 minutes.
So this is the session right now, right? I've got 2 sessions coming back to
yeah,
back,
so you have a session from 1 to 2,
and then 2
and
to
then
3, or
yeah,
2.
2 to 3.
Yeah, 2:05, so, okay.
So it's 12:30 our time. So you have about 30 minutes till the session starts.
Right, I know.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, you're
so are
fine.
we
I'm just
okay?
letting people in the, yeah, you'll be fine. I'm letting people in the group know. And I think, is Patrick Whitehead in this group too?
Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
So that's what I want up. That's how I'd like to start.
Okay,
Okay, good. Thank
perfect.
you.
Yeah, no problem.
Are you a teacher?
I actually work for Nevada Department of Education, so
Oh, okay.
but I actually have to leave because for 30 minutes because we're
Of course,
starting in
that's
about,
fine.
sorry about that.
No worries. I just asked.
I have a baby. So but yeah, I'll be right
Okay.
back. If Patrick Whitehead shows up, I guess I'll be back. So yeah, no worries. Thank you though.
Okay. All right. So I'm seeing the chat from the prior one, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be there still. Like I can't delete the whole chat. So
Okay.
yeah.
Understood. Okay.